Very, very impressive. I've been obviously spent a lot of time here since I've been appointed. I came in on the 5th of June and was in for a week or so preparing things, went on holiday, came back, and the players started on Monday. And I've got to say that a big part of the reason why I came here was because I had the feeling for the players and the mentality, and they certainly haven't let me down. They've been fantastic, and this morning was our first morning on the fields, and now they get big qualities.
Everybody come back fit and healthy. There's 3 that Armstrong and Eva are not quite there, are they?
Eva and Noel Hunt just aren't quite there yet. They've been working really hard to get themselves back, and I think now they've seen the players come back and see them playing football, then they have a big motivation to come back. I think Noel's obviously a bit closer than Eva, but no, it's as I said, Chrissy Armstrong and a few of the other guys that were injured towards the end of last season have worked really hard, worked well, and they're back in and have trained excellent.
There's a lot of young faces out there, Brendan, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there's a good mix. There's a real good mix. This club has got a lot of good talent, and when you look at the young talent, they've actually played a number of games. You look at Alex Pearce, James Henry, Jem Carrigan, Hal Robson-Canoe. These are guys that have actually got decent league experience now. And you've got then on top of that the guys that have been here for a few years. So I'm really looking forward to working with them. It's new ideas, it's a new way of working, looking to give a new identity to the team. And so far the players have been very receptive and enjoying the work.
A lot of those younger players you just mentioned, had you worked with them before when you were here?
Yeah, a number of them I was obviously involved when they actually came to the club. So Alex Pearce, when we took Alex from Oxford as an under 12, Simon Church we took to here from Wickham. Jem Carrigan was a young player that we took in when he was at Manchester United as a boy. James Henry's been here all his life, so I've known him for a long time. So, and Hal Robson-Canoe, Julian Kelly, boys that we'd taken here when they were under 15 from Arsenal. So I've got a real, decent knowledge of their DNA. So, and obviously some of the other players, the senior players, the European guys, I'm looking forward to working with, because I worked at the international level at Chelsea, and where Chelsea is an international club, so you get to understand about different cultures, and here we've obviously got quite a few, so that's also good as well.
Is there quite a bit of pressure on these young players, because they make up quite a large bit of the squad now? So do you think they're strong enough to come through?
Yeah, no, for sure. They're certainly good enough. I think you've seen Alex Pearce last year when he played. I tried to take Alex to Watford on loan, but obviously Steve wanted to keep him and obviously play him, and he's done exceptionally well. James he's played in some of the big games with Reading, but he's also dipped in and out on loan, so that's been good experience for him. But they're young players, but I always feel if you're good enough, then you're old enough, and how long do you wait? How long do you wait? If a boy's good at 17, he needs possibilities to play. If you look at Kieran Gibbs at Arsenal, is he old enough? He's played in the Champions League and he's 19. So the boys need an opportunity, and I have an inherent belief in young players. So I believe that if you need to be good enough. But I will always give that opportunity to young players. But you need the balance, for sure, and there's a decent balance here, and what I'll be able to bring into the club as well will support them.
Do you have any inclination in your own mind as to whether you're going to favour the younger players when you start the season, or just, if I can put it crudely, pick your best 11?
I favour the top talent. If he's 18, he's 18. If he's 31, he's 31. So I will favour the best players. What I will be frightened to do, if the best player is 18, he plays. I done that at Watford in my short period there. I had an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old in midfield. I had an 18-year-old at right back. I had a 20-year-old goalkeeper in Scotty Lewis. you know, and others in and around that were 21, 22. So I will favour the best players, and if the best players, you know, like you see at the biggest clubs, you know, you look at Manchester United and Arsenal, you have to have no fear in playing them. If you have fear, then you will pick 29-year-olds and 30-year-olds. I favour good players. And
there's been a suggestion that you're looking at a couple of the younger lads at Chelsea to come down on loan. Any truth in that?
yes,
Okay, so that's a strong possibility.
strong possibility.
Is that Mansion, is it? Manson's one of them.
We shall see.
Okay.
It's the same answer for Cork. Same answer for Cork as well.
Exactly the same.
You start,
And there's another one,
Bertrand,
maybe.
you start to get a feel of the squad and what you need to add and where you need to add now you've seen them all?
Yeah, no, I've come in here, as I said, feeling I was 1-0 up because I've had an idea of the group and the identity of the group. And then I'll get a good chance to see them over the course of pre-season. But it's natural that you want to bring in 3-4 players who you've worked with in the past, who can bring new motivation to the group and can help the group, which is the most important thing. So, and I will look to do that.
You're heading off to Sweden fairly soon. Would you like to get people on board before that so that they can mix and integrate with the group?
For sure,
on that sort?
absolutely. Absolutely.
What's the latest with Stephen Hunt, Brendan? Any offers there at all? Or?
We haven't had any official bid. I've got good communication with Stephen. Obviously, when I became the manager, I spoke with him. He's had expressed his intent to leave, before I became the manager, and even throughout Steve's time, obviously Stephen has looked to go. But I always treat players with respect. He's a player that's still a Reading Football Club player. He's made a big contribution to the football club in his time here. This is a guy who was released from Brentford and is now deemed as a Premier League player. He's 28 years of age. He will want the opportunity, like anyone, to play in the Premier League, and obviously that's where he sees his project and the latter part of his career. And I've got no drama with that. People with ambition, all I ask is that when they're here they give their life and they give everything, and that's one thing that you can never ever take away from him or no. Both of them are from the same bottle. Their energy and enthusiasm and honesty is frightening. There's some players would come in and be crying that they want to leave and they don't work and their attitude isn't very good. He's come in and his respect has been great. We communicate every day, so if an offer comes in that suits the club, then I'm sure he will go. But in this moment he's a Reading player.
Andre Biquet's also been linked to clubs in France. What's his situation at the moment?
Likewise, if he's here as a player, he's here to work, and he has to work well. If there's a possibility, then again the club will look at it, because that's how we've always done things here. It's something where if there's an offer comes in, we sit with the player and we look at it, and if it's right for us all, then we can do something. But as of yet, there's been no offer. He's a big guy who smiles and enjoys his work. He loves to enjoy his life. I've worked with Jeremy at Cameroonian at Chelsea, and I work with many of the African players. They love their football. So certainly, again, he's not crying to leave. But obviously, when a club like a Marseille or whoever, or the big French clubs, they know he's a big player. He speaks French, so I'm sure there's interest. But in the moment, he's fine.
Brendan, can you give us any insight into the Tommy Smith situation? I mean, on the surface, 750 rejected, 1.8 million accepted, yet there still seems to be the feeling that he could end up at Reading.
He wants to be here. Simple, it's something that, I think I've said most of what I've said on it. He's a player that has turned down a number of moves.
So basically it's got to the point where you know what's happening but you can't say what's happening.
Well, it's one with the club of obviously offers. Yeah, absolutely. It's my job is to identify the players that I want, and then in exactly the same scenario with Steve, I let Nick and the board get on with it. That is then their job to hopefully deliver the players that I want. I've made it clear we've made the intent that this was the offer. There was a number of other offers for for Tommy, and then one big one came in, and
But the bottom line is Tommy can go where he wants to, can't he, or stay? I think he doesn't have to go.
he doesn't have to go anywhere. He doesn't have to go anywhere
Unless he wants to.
unless he wants to.
Is there any indications that the two clubs are getting closer to some sort of valuation? Or
There's good communication. I know that Nick's been having good communication with the chairman there, and hopefully, I'm not sure how quickly, but there'll be some sort of resolution on it. But at the moment, Tommy's a Watford player. He's a player I've identified that I would love to bring in. I know his work. He's a big player in the Championship, and when you lose 18 goals in Kevin Doyle, you want to replace someone with that efficiency, and Tommy, in every aspect, stats, whatever way you look at it, is a big player. And the 11, he gets 17 goals and 12 assists or something, so he's got big qualities, and I know his work.
Paskin, any comments on that?
No, very good player. We haven't done it, I think I've been linked with Thomas because when I went in there he wasn't in the team and didn't score any goals in the second half of the season. He scored 14 goals, we worked well together. But
Snodgrass at Leeds, he's another name that's been put about a bit.
Who?
Snodgrass, Robert Snodgrass at Leeds United.
No, I obviously know him, but no. I think that I'll be linked with a lot of, especially top talents.
Somebody else that's doing it.
Absolutely, because of my history of working with big talent. So, and obviously there's European stuff. I'm fortunate where I've got strong contacts here and abroad, and so there'll be plenty of names for you to throw about, and I'll probably know them. But no, that's not.
One more, Nathan Tyson.
Tice is obviously someone I knew well and tried to was interested in taking him to Watford, but he just signed a new deal. I know he's been banded about, but he's under contract there.
I think they came out recently, like yesterday, saying that he was going nowhere.
I'm sure it is. Well, we haven't bid for him, and so.
Okay, changing the emphasis slightly, I gather you've not made your mind up on a captain yet. What are you looking for there for Reading's captain?
I like someone who leads the team on and off the field and represents the club. I'm not one for there's a sort of modern day thing where there's about 20 captains, and for me I suppose in my time here, when I was here before, there's been inspirational leaders. You look at Eddie Williams, who was a captain here for a number of time. Martin Hicks before that, he was a captain for a long period. Then Graham Murty was here. I went to Chelsea, where he had arguably the best captain in modern football, and John Terry. And I've seen that close hand, and then and my thought is that I've come into here with a clean sheet of paper. There have been captains here. I've read some comments that people have said when they've been captain, but for me it's an honour to be a captain of a club of this status and stature, and I want to give that person and the people who want to be captain to show me that they want to be it. So
you're always inviting offers?
Well, I'm not inviting offers, but what I'm saying to the players is that the club no longer has a team and a club captain. I'm looking for a captain and a vice captain to take my idea forward and the club's idea, and who wants it? Who wants the honour? Now, there's very few people that can fill those shoes, but I'm just taking a close look and then decide from there.
Would you worry about maybe putting it on a younger lad? Do you think that sort of responsibility on a young man's shoulders would be a problem? Or?
No, really not. As long as he's the right type. As long as he's the right type, I've got no problems with that.
I think it's like Tony Adams, he was captain at 21, wasn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. And if you look at Nigel Reo-Coker, was captain at 19 when he played for Wimbledon, and there's other captains of, John Terry was a captain when he was young in the team, and obviously was in there as a sort of vice captain, and obviously then officially got the captaincy. But so now, again, it's something that if you're young, obviously you need to understand the responsibility and be able to inspire and on and off the field and be be able to represent the club in a manner and being an ambassador. So now if that falls to a young player, then I've got no problem. But as I said, I think here there's many captains. When I look and see their qualities, their intensity, and a lot of them leading, then there's certainly that there. But I'm just taking a good look at it.
Do you prefer certain positions? Some people think centre backs are ideal captains, and
certainly not somebody on the bench. Yeah, I prefer someone that can go on there and lead and play. If that's the striker or the goalkeeper, it doesn't matter for me. Obviously everyone looks at being this big centre half who leads the team, and obviously that's where all captains do come from, because that's the
Williams and Hicks. You gave 2 examples, Aidy Williams and Martin Hicks.
Absolutely.
Exactly that.
Yeah, and Aidy, learned off of Hicksy, and how he'd done things, and obviously then took over the captaincy and was terrific, So, but for me it was a centre midfield player, striker, goalkeeper, doesn't matter, as long as he's on the field.
If you have any idea what kind of team you're going to put out against Didcot for the first game of the season, any formation or anything like that, any indications?
Well, probably because it's only a week into our preparation, I'll play 2 different teams. 2 different teams in the 45 minutes, give them the opportunity to work and work well. We've got 7 games over the course of pre-season, so I also need to manage that. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited. It's my first, even though it's Dick is a lovely wee ground, and there's a tradition of going there with the club in the last few seasons. So I'm really looking forward to leading the team over to there and seeing them work. For me, I've always said about, I will look at changing the identity of the team, but the system for me is always irrelevant. It's more the style, and for me the style will always be creative. It will be offensive, but with discipline. And then all the stats show, I looked at a recent stat there of the last 5 seasons in the Championship, and the determinant of the teams, of goals scored and goals conceded, the biggest determinant is the teams that have gone up and scored goals. So people, of course, you want to keep clean sheets, and you want to keep clean sheets. You have to be defensively strong, but you won't win games if you don't score goals.
Proof of that is 2 or 3 more goals in the last few games of Reading up.
Absolutely.
It wasn't the defensive bit, it was the other end.
Yeah. Exactly right. So sometimes we may have to concede that we might lose a goal, and I'm a manager that takes a risk, because I feel that if you take the risk, you might have 5 games in this season, or 6 games, whatever. You need to take a risk to win a game. Now, the risk, I had a situation that we take some risks and it works, and then sometimes it doesn't work and you get a draw. But I will much rather go with the 5 points that you can get from taking the risk, because those 5 might get you up, than sit back and not take the risk. And but my style is always to be creative, offensive. I love players to be able to deal with the football. If you're centre half, you're a football player. You have a job to defend, of course, but creative and offensive, but with discipline, is always my way.
So do you think Reading supporters would see a different style of football from that last season?
I don't think so. I think I've done it in a short period of time. When I went into Watford, they had a style of football. It's about getting the winning formula. And that's what I learned very quickly, in every club that I've been at. And then obviously jumping into management. It's about getting the winning formula. Because supporters like to see their team winning. But for me, it's obviously more than that. I like the team to have an identity which is about playing passing football, being creative, and having good organisation and professionalism.
Is there a certain formation that you prefer? Do you go straight 4-4-2 man, or is it whatever they are?
I like the team to be flexible. 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 4-4-2 diamond. I like the players to have creativity. I feel that some of the best coaches in the world that I've worked with are very much along the line, and my thinking, where when your team's got the ball, it's sometimes difficult to see the formation, because of the constant mobility and the movement of the team. You should really only see the team when you're formation when you're defending. You know, and the best teams in the world are that. It's hard to identify sometimes what the best teams are playing, but when they haven't got the ball, you know, they defend. Their organisation is good. So for me, I've obviously been renowned for playing 4-3-3 offensively. You know, people say, well, it's only maybe one striker up, but it's not, it's three. It depends, you know. Teams will put out 4-3-3, but it's 4-5-1 because the two wide strikers are wide midfield players or left backs. So they're not 4-3-3, then they're 4-5-1. I prefer mine to be three offensive players, attacking midfield players. You know, so rather than having two up, I have three up. Sometimes it's one up and one off. You know, sometimes it'll be two direct up there and one in behind, which is your diamond. You know.
Just going into that, I mean, Tommy, I think from what I remember, Tommy Smith, was he playing? He wasn't at the top of your line. You had Priskin there last year, didn't he? So you had Tommy on one of the wings. He came in from there. So you've lost Kevin, obviously. Are you looking at another frontman then to lead that line?
I think we've got really good strikers here. Obviously, I would maybe have to, you know, I need to assess the players that are here. There's obviously a full international strikers here. You get Shane Long, you get Simon Church, young guys that obviously have been in and out of the team because of the qualities of others, but are champing at the bit for the opportunity. You know, so, and you get Noel Hunt, who can play in there, so who, you know, got great power and they can jump and got great jumping ability. So the stature in our team will be still good. It's one of the things that, you know, coming to here, I see the stature in the players. You know, and I think the bigger level you go, sometimes that stature is good, and you know. So, but in terms of strikers, they've got very good strikers here. Tommy Smith can play in a number of positions, and I like them to be multifunctional. I like them not, you know, you get certain positions that are specific, centre half, you know, but our recruitment of players will be, a lot of them will be multifunctional, where a centre half can maybe play at left back, a striker can probably play on the side, someone on the side can maybe play inside, you know, and then it means that your squad is reduced. You then don't need 40 players. If you could get a smaller group with players that are multifunctional, then it allows you to work with a smaller group.
People like Simon Church have stepped up. People like Roy Evans were talking him up after his Welsh game, particularly his movement off the ball. So in a sense, Simon had a chance in the summer to say to you, look, I can go up a level.
Absolutely. And you know, I watched his game with the full international when he played, and he made a great run to the first post and the ball's gone in behind and they've got the goal, Wales. So he's a talent. He's a boy that gives his life for football. Football's his life. He's improved over the last numbers of years, and so much so that, you know, I've seen him in the under-21 games against England when he was terrific, scored 3 goals I think in 2 games, and then he jumped on and has become a full international player. You know, so we get big talents here, big talents that I just feel that in life you need an opportunity, and I think some of these guys need an opportunity, and if we can get good players in alongside them with the ones that's here and some players that we can bring in, then it could be exciting.